morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. Your generous support and your presence means so much to the entire staff and the women we serve at Grace Outreach. My name is Danae McLeod, and I'm the Executive Director. It is my pleasure to share a bit about our work and to let our staff and students tell their stories. Since 2004, Grace Outreach has served low-income women of all ages in the South Bronx who seek to gain a high school equivalency degree, pursue higher education, and secure employment. Over the past 16 years, we have built a track record of success for Grace Outreach and our program graduates. Over 1,500 women have earned their high school equivalency diploma. 300 women have completed our college program and matriculated at the City University of New York. And over 350 women have intervocational training programs. 300 women have gained employment. Grace Outreach is located in the South Bronx, home to some of the city's greatest educational and employment challenges. The Bronx is the poorest urban county in the United States. The median household income in the South Bronx is half the New York City average at less than $26,000 per year. And the Bronx has the lowest high school graduation rate in the state at 66%. Since most jobs require a high school degree, as a result, 34% of women in the Bronx are effectively locked out of jobs and gaining economic security. These challenges are why our dedicated staff of 9 come to work every day, ready to support over 200 determined women each year. 80% of our students are mothers, 95% are women of color, and 100% of our students live below the poverty line. All of them face challenges to economic security that were exacerbated by COVID-19, such as lack of childcare, domestic violence, public housing, and homelessness and lack of digital access. COVID-19, the recession, and closures deeply impacted the women we serve. We knew how important it was to continue to provide support to the women in the Bronx. So we moved all 3 of our programs online, which was crucial but challenging. We needed to make sure our students, who are moms, had flexible class schedules, and our digitally disconnected students could participate from a smartphone or a tablet. We are so proud of what we created, and we were able to serve 250 women in 2020. Today, you'll hear about the many changes we made over the course of last year. In 2021, we can't wait to get back into the office to best support our digitally disconnected students and to apply the many lessons that we learned over the course of 2020. We're hoping to move forward with a blended learning model that will begin mid to late summer, and we will welcome back any student who doesn't have access to the technology they need to participate in our programming.
My name is Margaret Grace. I am the founder of the Grace Outreach Program that is located in the Mott Haven section of the South Bronx. We are in the heart of the poorest congressional district in the United States of America. Less than 50% of the population has attained a high school diploma. In addition, 70% of the women that come to us come on their own, and the average age
is over 25.
The mission of Grace Outreach is to provide an underserved population the opportunity through education and instill in them the tools and skill sets required to become passionate, lifelong learners and the ability to achieve financial independence. Where you were born should not dictate your future. The program mitigates and hopefully breaks the cycle that just continually spins. What we try to do is put these women on a path, an avenue to earn a livable wage, to continue their education in order for them to either enter college and complete it successfully or enter a quality job training program. Education is a gift. I was taught at a very young age the power and value of an education. Everybody should have the opportunity and be able to access the programs provided by the Grace Outreach Program.
Hi, my name is Marlene Solano. I'm 34 years old. So what made me go to Grace Outreach was that the path that I was going, it was not right. My mother and my father got divorced, and I felt like everything just went down from there. I didn't want to go to school no more, and I stopped going to school when I was in junior high school. And I felt that like a GED was not, a high school diploma wasn't necessary. Like I used to say, I'm gonna find a job no matter what. So as I stopped going to school and I was like skipping school and doing all of this, my mother was on public assistance, and I didn't see nothing wrong with it. So then I got pregnant. I used to go, like, I was going to school on 34th Street. Then I got pregnant with my first child now. So that's when I saw that it was getting serious. Like, I was applying for jobs and I couldn't find a job. I couldn't, like, it was so hard. It was so hard. I think my first child really opened me up, like, to go and do what I gotta do to better her life. And then one day I decided to go to Grace Outreach. I got pregnant again and I couldn't make it and I dropped out. So one day I called Grace Outreach. I told them that I was interested in taking my GED there. They opened the doors to me with a beautiful welcome. And then I started going. At first, I was trying to give up because the stairs was very long. But then every day I used to go to school and I used to see those stairs. For me, was like, it was a goal. Every step for me was like, I'm gonna reach to where I wanna be. So I started going every day, and I passed my GED 2 years ago. So, it's something that I would, if I could do it again, I would have. I just would do it again, because if I would have known that I had to go through all this journey to get where I'm at right now, I think I will do it again, because it was emotional. It was a struggle, depression. I have 3 kids. It was not easy. But the teachers in there make me feel so good. There was nothing that I couldn't ask and my questions wasn't answered. They make me feel like everything was gonna be all right. They push you to do good. And then now I'm doing my MA, medical assistant. I started as an intern and I just got hired where I'm at. Grace Outreach means a lot to me. I go everywhere and I speak about Grace Outreach. It's support, family, encouragement, happiness. It's a lot. It means a lot for me, because without them, I wouldn't have my GED.
I found out about Grace Outreach online. I decided to come to, and I started to study for the GED in around January, February of 2020. And I was pregnant. It wasn't easy, but thankfully I got through of it. I did not get to take my exam because of COVID. It was in the middle of COVID, and schools were closed. It wasn't easy at all because of the pandemic, but I gave birth in April. School was closed, and I decided to look for a job. And thankfully, Grace Outreach helped me a lot. There was this training for free for an agency, home health aid agency, and then I got hired. They trained me for 4 weeks, and I got the certificate. They hired me at the same time, and I started working part-time. And now I'm still hoping that Grace Outreach will reopen, and then we go back to school, and finally I'll get my GED. First of all, I want to thank Grace Outreach. When I first started looking for a school to help me get my GED, I went through a lot of schools, but I don't know, something from Grace Outreach, I don't know, the reviews, yeah, and it was already close to my house, so I just came to Grace Outreach. I took the test, and I was admitted. So I want to say thank you to Grace Outreach. All of those people, the teacher, they were very, very, very helpful, very supportive. I want to say thank you to Grace Outreach, all those members. Miss Liz, Miss Zeki, Miss Nicola. Everyone is in Grace Outreach. I can't even talk because I'm very, yeah. Yeah, but thank you. And I'm praying all day that God help you achieve your goal, which is helping us out here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you. Aw, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Because it's gonna be a dream come true to me. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, my name is Liz Walsh. I run the college and career programs at Grace Outreach. And what that means is that I work with students through every stage of their process at Grace Outreach. When they come into our program at the entry point, which is the high school equivalency program, I start working with them on learning a little bit about professionalism, seeing where they are at that point and where they need to get to, right? So we start there. We work on resumes, we work on professional communication, conflict resolution, cover letters, interview skills, everything you could imagine that somebody may learn in high school, but our students have missed that developmental stage, so they don't even have that experience. So we start there, and then after they end their high school diploma, I get the privilege of working with them forever, pretty much. So I work with them as they go through our college program, as they go through our advanced career program. And in those programs, I might help them find a job opportunity. We might connect them to one of our great partners that can help them earn a credential that will help them to earn more money in the career that they choose. Or maybe they want to go to college. So that's another thing that I work with students. I help them figure out what college they want to go to. So when I came to Grace Outreach, I thought I had an understanding of what it meant to be from the Bronx, because that's where I'm from. I was raised to still live in the Bronx. And I thought I understood the baggage that people from the Bronx carry, whether it's being coming from a poverty background, or sometimes it's just a lack of opportunities, or even a lack of an idea about a future. So in my family, what resonates with a lot of the students and how we connect is we didn't really talk about a future. We just talked about surviving. And I thought I understood all of that, right? But it was a little ignorance on my part. And then when I got to Grace Outreach and I started working with the amazing women at Grace Outreach, I realized I didn't even have a clue as to all the challenges that somebody could have coming from a low income background, and especially a background for women of color. You know, systemic racism is not a new thing to Grace Outreach. Our students live with it every day. They don't need anyone to teach them about it. They don't need lectures about it. The whole world woke up during the pandemic to realize the inequality in our systems and how things affect people of color and people of color who live in poverty. An example would be a student who said that she went on a job interview and it was an open call for a new restaurant that was opening. And they were hiring for all different positions. They were hiring for servers, bartenders, people to clean, so custodial, right? And she showed up and the way she described it was, I showed up and there was 3 other women there. She goes, I didn't think anything at first. She goes, but when the manager came over who was going to be hiring people, he said, oh, welcome. You're here for, this new restaurant that we're opening. We're happy to have you. And he gestured to the first 3 women and he said, okay, so you're here to interview for server positions, right? And they were like, yeah. So it was just a guess on his part, but they said, yeah, we're here for servers. And then he gestured to our student and said, you're here for a custodial position, right? So it took me a second. And I was like, she was like, but I wasn't there for a custodial position. And I paused and I was like, so why did he say you're there for a custodial position? And she said, Miss Liz, because I'm Black. And I just stopped and I was like, I thought I was aware of everything our students went through. And I said, but I'm not, because there are so many differences that you can only know if you're a Black person or a brown person in this country. So the student looked and she said, in front of the whole class, in a virtual class, she said, I was there to clean toilets because I was the Black woman on the job interview. What I learned very quickly about the women at Grace Outreach is they come from backgrounds that are not just poverty backgrounds. We're talking about women who are living in extreme poverty, that are living in shelters. Some of them are street homeless. We have actually had street homeless students who will come to school every day with their bag on their shoulder, take their classes, and then go sleep in a park that night. We also have a lot of women who are coming from domestic violence situations, which presents a whole other challenge of our women sometimes lack confidence because of the situations that they've been in, and they may also be physically and mentally and emotionally in a risky situation. During the pandemic, we have seen the scope of who we serve change even more, or expand, not necessarily change, but expand. So as you know, working in the college program virtually, I have seen our footprint expand in a way that I didn't expect. So primarily we serve women for the Bronx, but now we're seeing women come to us from Brooklyn, Queens, even Long Island, Staten Island, because despite all of the negative things of the pandemic, we do see a little bit of access opened up through these virtual classes. We'd like you to meet some of these amazing women for yourself through Portraits of Grace.
My name is Diana Ruby Rodriguez Soriano. When I was like 12 years old, my mom, she lost her job, so we moved back with my grandma. It was really, really hard because back there I was going to the to the National School down in the Dominican Republic. So every day I have to go to the capital, to the city. So I have to drive over like an hour and a half. And for that I needed the money, you know, for the transport, food and everything. It was really hard when she told me like, hey, today I can't do it, we can't do it. But she was like, no, I'm gonna take you with me, you're gonna do this. She didn't have to. And I could see like she was struggling, and still she was like, you're my daughter, I need to help you because this is really what you want, this is your dream. So she was really with me the whole time. Even though sometimes I could see she was like, okay, if I give you the money, I won't have money for dinner, I won't have money for breakfast. And she was like, this is really what you want, take it. So it was really hard when we came here. My mom, she stayed like for 6 to 8 months without a job. It was really hard for me because I wasn't dancing. So it was, you pass from doing every day to not doing it. I heard about Grace Outreach. I was looking for help on how I was able to enter college. So I didn't know anything about it. Obviously, I went to the web, I went to internet, and when I was there, I was looking for several ways to do it, and I see this page, Grace Outreach. At first, to be honest, I thought it was a cash because it was great. They were like, okay, we're gonna help you enter college, we're gonna help you in everything. So I was like, why not? I'm gonna put my email, I'm gonna put my phone. And then about like 2 or 3 weeks later, Liz called me, and I had such a good vibe for her. Like, we connect right away. She was like, she's just so happy, and you understand everything she say. So I was like, this is the right place to go. And since then, it's been a really, really huge help for her. Like, she's always there. She's like, Diana, what do you need, Diana? So it was a really, really, I think if it wouldn't be for Grace Outreach, I don't know, I would be home, depressed, crying, what am I supposed to do and everything. So I really, really, really appreciate the help. I see myself dancing in the future, that's why I went. Because if you look at it, when you reach a certain age, you're like, okay, I can't dance anymore. So what I decided was, I'm gonna dance until I can't do it anymore. So I was really going for engineer, but then I said, why not? So Liz, she was the one who put me in the dance program, content dance program. She was like, okay, Diana, here it is. Look at it, see if you like it. And it was great. It was great because there they have everything I like, and the program is a really short program. So I can be done in a really short time and start with other things and have a work, our life, my family, and everything. Thank you.
Yay. My name is Yaren Santana, and I am a former Grace Outreach student, and I graduated from Grace Outreach in 2010. I still have my diploma, bam! But it's beautiful now, and I can speak about it now. But before I tell you guys where I am now, let me tell you where I was. Right? So before I started going to Grace Outreach, I came from a very dysfunctional family. I went through a lot in my childhood. I had a lot of dark phases, and I wasn't fed with a silver spoon. I come from a low income family, right? So my dad worked full time. My mom Also, you know, she was a stay-at-home mom, and eventually she went to school. But, you know, I had a lot of issues growing up in my family. I had a lot of issues with myself, with my self-esteem, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear of the future. And so I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I could do it. I didn't believe that I was able to move forward. So when I, you know, went to high school, I started cutting school. I wasn't interested. I wasn't motivated. And that just went on till I made it to like my third high school. So the first high school they kicked me out of because of my attendance. The second high school I got kicked out of because of the attendance. And my third high school, which was a night school, I went to it, and it was they had a program, a YMCA program in Columbus High School that basically said, hey, you know, if you haven't been making it in other high schools, come to this program and we'll help you move forward. Well, guess what? I got kicked out of there too. So not only was that door closed, but my hope for everything was gone. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to make it out here. I needed structure. I needed a change of life. I needed for something had to give, because my life was like completely like no school. My family at that time sucked, you know. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go to the Air Force. And when I go to the Air Force, I'll get my life together over there. Well, guess what? Before I went to the Air Force, I basically went to the base, and they told me that I needed a GED or I needed a high school equivalency or something equivalent to a high school diploma. So again, I felt like my life was crushed, because it's like every time I tried, I felt like society, life itself just made it so difficult for me. And I tried, and I wanted to get a job, and I couldn't. Why? Because I didn't even have a high school diploma. So it's like every time I tried, everything, it was just like closed doors, closed doors, closed doors. I bumped into Grace Outreach, right? Grace. The word grace, right? And so I was welcomed with open arms. I was welcomed with so much enthusiasm, and I had people in there, Zeki, Nicola, and Andrew. And if I'm missing you, please forgive me. With people that just believed in me and just wanted me to go forward. And when I saw that, and a place full of women, like strong women that were just motivated and just wanted to keep going forward, I said, wow, this is where it's at. Because of Grace Outreach and this opportunity that they provided me with, you know, today I'm able to say that now I am a mental health therapist, right? After I graduated from Grace Outreach, I went straight to college. I went to Borough Mahan Community College. I did my 2 years there. And guess who took me to Borough Mahan Community College? Grace Outreach. Grace Outreach took me there. They gave me a tour. They showed me how to apply for our application. They showed me how to apply for financial aid. They did all that. And they helped me. And then I went straight into Hunter College. And guess what? When I was struggling with math, guess where I went? To Grace Outreach. And guess what? They tutored me. Why? Because I needed help. Because I was still struggling. And then I graduated from there. And after graduating from Hunter College, I applied. I grew, courage. And I applied to NYU, New York University, a private school, a high school dropout. Ones that they said I wasn't going to make it. And I wanted to go to that high school that told me we can't accept you because, your attendance sucks. And I wanted to say, hey, I got accepted to NYU, just saying, and walk away. But I didn't do that because, that's not nice. But I got accepted to NYU. Who would have known that a high school dropout, one that had no hope, I wanted to leave to the Air Force because I had nothing to look for here in New York. I'm still in New York. I'm still here. And today I graduated from NYU, with my master's in mental health and counseling. And today I'm helping teenagers that are also struggling with the same things that I did. Look at that, right? How ironic is life? So I am hoping that in today's video, you are able to get just a glimpse of what it is to get doors slammed in your face and for you to just get up, depending and in my case, depending on God, right? Or depending on whatever your faith is, and just continue to move forward. There is nothing impossible.
Hello, my name is Arlet Hamilton, and I am the Reading, Writing, and Science Instructor here at Grace Outreach. Each year, I get the opportunity to teach over 250 women aged 17 and older to help them get their high school equivalency diploma. The first time I came to Grace Outreach was in the year 2008. I had need to get my diploma because I wanted to attend college. However, I was unable to get my diploma from my home country, Belize. So I came to Grace Outreach in an attempt to get a diploma, a high school diploma, and move on to college. Grace Outreach opened the door for me to be able to complete my education. This is why I am a staunch supporter and advocate for this program. Now I am employed here at Grace Outreach as a teacher, and I am able to do for others what was done for me here at Grace Outreach. 7 years ago in 2014, in an attempt to raise the esteem of the high school equivalency diploma and make it more powerful, New York State replaced the old GED exam with a far more challenging cumulative exam known as the TASC, the Test Assessing Secondary Completion. For students to pass the TASC exam, they need to demonstrate high school knowledge of math, reading, writing, science, and social studies. Imagine what that means for students who have been out of school for several years. Of course, it is challenging for them to pass. What was the result of this? This change that was brought to the exam? Lower passing rates. A few years later, the minimum wage in New York City was raised to $15 an hour. We can all agree that this was a big win for everyone. Unfortunately, what that meant for students like ours is that big box stores that employ many of Bronx residents required students to have a high school degree or the equivalent of one. For more money, these stores could demand more from the people they hire. This means that over 34% of women in the Bronx had to complete their high school education. We are the only high school equivalency program serving women over 25 in the Bronx. Shockingly, HSE programs like ours are aimed at young adults, which means mothers working to raise children by themselves often miss their window to enroll in other programs. Grace Outreach has been the only program they could go to or felt safe going to, which is why we, the staff, do what we do here every day. If Grace Outreach did not exist as a program, many of the women I teach every day would simply not receive support. That is one of the reasons we are here today, not just to celebrate the amazing accomplishments of our alumni, but also to raise money to continue to do the work we do. If you are interested in supporting our work with women, like those you just heard from, please make a contribution. Your gift would be welcome. You can make a donation in 2 different ways. You can scroll down and click the donate button. When you do this, a new tab will open up, so once you're done making your donation, you can just close the tab and rejoin the event. You can also use your cell phone to make a gift. Just text G Outreach, uppercase G, uppercase O, to the number 50155. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, don't I need 10 digits to make a phone number? Just kidding. No, you do not. Just open up a new text message and enter in 50155, where the phone number goes, and text the word G Outreach, uppercase G, uppercase O, to that number. You'll get a link to donate and learn more. Your gift will help us continue to support women in the Bronx, help us get back into the classroom this summer, and help our digitally disconnected students access the technology they need. We are so thankful for your support.
It is an honor and privilege to welcome our honoree, Mika Brzezinski. She is the co-host of The Morning Joe Show, founder of Know Your Value, author of 4 best-selling books, in addition to many other accomplishments. In 2015, Mika launched a nationwide movement in partnership with NBC Universal called Know Your Value. The purpose of this movement is to support and empower an inclusive community that helps all women recognize and realize their true worth in business and life. I cannot think of a better role model for the women of Grace Outreach than Mika. At this time, I would like to welcome my dear friend, Mika Brzezinski.
Margaret, thank you. Thank you so much, Margaret. I really appreciate this. It is so great to be with you all here this morning. Margaret and I go back years, actually decades, decades and decades, because we're old. In fact, I think Margaret might be a little older than me. I'm not sure, because I dated her nephew, not her niece, her nephew, for 7 years. A long time ago. So we go way back, old friends. Margaret is a good person. I mean, there's a lot of great people around here and there who do all this and do all that, but when you can find a truly good friend and a person who wants to do good, you have struck gold. And that's what's happened to me with Margaret. And here we are, celebrating me with a guest of honor, which I don't get. I really appreciate it. And I am very, very honored. But really, the celebration is about you and Grace Outreach and the women who are lucky enough to be the students of Grace Outreach and the incredible teachers at Grace Outreach who are so dedicated to all of you. And, you know, I love Grace Outreach because it is so in sync with my platform, Know Your Value. And what I think Grace Outreach does so well is it gives women who maybe might have struggled with their own sense of value complete and utter attention and a sense of their own value. And by the time these women graduate from Grace Outreach, and any of you out there who has graduated from the program understands what this feels like, you know your value. You have received the education you always deserved, you should have, that you could accomplish, that you could achieve, and you have been really given an enhanced sense of what you already are, valuable. And so to be a part of this breakfast today and to be honored this morning means a lot, not only because of my long, close friendship with Margaret, crossing the country, quite frankly. In many states we have crossed paths, but also because of the heart and soul that she has put into all of you and to making Grace Outreach what it is. I have such respect for Margaret and such respect for Grace Outreach. And I'm completely blown away that this would be happening here with me as the honoree of the morning, but I'll take it and I appreciate it. And we have a great conversation with a teacher today, and all I will say, and I don't know if this is allowed, but I am very jealous of one of her students who is a math princess, and I am not. But when you hear from the teachers of Grace Outreach, you actually realize that it is the power of what they do that is really, it's incomparable. I mean, it's the best teaching that you can find. Heart and soul and joy and humor is brought to the table every day so that women can learn not just skills and the basics, but their value. And you get that out of love. And these teachers are driven by love, just as Margaret is. So thank you so much for honoring me today. I'm very moved, and I really appreciate it.
When I came here, it was not easy for me to adapt a new language and start my high school diploma. But Grace Outreach, it really made me hopeful to speak, even to when it comes to speak English. Like there was a lot of different type of nationality students, and the teachers, everybody were like, okay, you can do it, you can talk. So some of the times if I'm not good at speaking, or they're like, you can do it, say the next word, like you can do it. So this is so inspiring when somebody inspire you to speak, and you actually can express yourself what you want to say. So Grace Outreach for me is that place where I expressed myself, where I expressed my dream. So after graduating, I went to BCC, Bronx Community College. So I went to BCC at 2019 fall, yes. And then I'm going to graduate this summer, 2021. My major is computer science, and I am really interested in web development courses in IT, and I will look forward my career onto that field. After graduating from Bruns Community College, I'm going to transfer to Lehman College with the same major, computer science. Grace Outreach is a dream place. Like whoever wants to go for their high school diploma, they wants to achieve their high school diploma, go over there. Like do start the classes. You are going to get there. You are going to pass. Trust me. If it's not one time, then do it next time. Do again. Do it another time. You will get there. And I would thank every teacher at Grace Outreach and everyone who helped us actually to get our diploma. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good day. Actually, thank you so much.
It takes a village, and we are so fortunate to have the most amazing village at Grace Outreach. I am filled with admiration for all these women who grace the halls and now the Zoom calls. I would like to introduce two strong, resilient women I admire. My dear friend and today's honoree, Mika Brzezinski, and our very own brilliantly inspiring Grace Outreach math teacher, Zeki.
Hi, everybody. I'm here with Zeki Blanding, and she is a teacher at Grace Outreach. And Zeki, I can't even imagine what the past year has been like. But I first want to hear overall, because Grace Outreach has been very close to my heart for many, many years. And the people connected and involved with this organization are always so special and bring so much to the table and lead with their hearts. What made you decide to become a teacher at Grace Outreach? How did this come about?
Well, first of all, Mika, I'd just like to say it's great to see you again. It's been
Thank you.
And we're so proud to have you here with us today. When I was an undergrad, I went to Duke University. I graduated in '95, and I went through the Duke teacher preparation program. So I knew I wanted to be a teacher, and I got certified to teach secondary school, which obviously is high school. And while I was at Columbia getting my master's degree, I started to teach the sixth grade. And I learned very quickly that I was introspective enough to know that I needed to be teaching high school. Because the sixth graders were rocking my world. And at the time, my good friend was teaching high school equivalency, which in New York at the time was the GED. And she was leaving her job, and she said, you know, Zeki, sixth grade is really rough. You know, maybe you should think about teaching adults. And I said, really? She said, yeah, I'm leaving my job. You should interview, where I work. So I did that, and I was hired. Now, this was in 1999, and I just absolutely loved and adored my students. Loved them. You get something from adult students, particularly high school equivalency students, because they are so in tune with how important their education is. They're so in tune with it. So they're so motivated, and they're so appreciative of everything that they learn from you, as I am everything that I learned from them. And I started doing that in 1999, and I've been doing it ever since.
So I love that you get such value back from the relationship and the sense of value at the education. They need it, they value it, and they value you. So it's a robust relationship. I'm curious if you can answer this in a short amount of time. It may not be possible, but how did your job as a teacher change with the pandemic?
It changed in so many ways. I mean, in class, I think something that probably differentiates me perhaps from other teachers in general is that I'm very, very big on incentives and praise. I've learned through my years of teaching high school equivalency that a lot of my students aren't even cognizant of how intelligent they are and how capable they are. They don't even know. And it's just astounding to me because I see their capabilities and how smart they are and how able they are. So in my classroom, in real time, it's just everything around. I have these incentives, and you answer a good question and you get a necklace, and oh, you're the math princess of the day, and you get a headband, and I have this robe that you get if you did this, and all the 8 Common Core standards, and if class just how many points you get in a day and the class who wins at the end of the cycle. So I have all these things going on that I literally cannot do online.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. So I do miss that. I mean, that's one of the major changes. I can't even slap them 5.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm left with doing, the robot, via Zoom. But that's probably the major change. And obviously a secondary is the technological thing are involved in online teaching, which clearly I wasn't privy to prior to this. Prior to teaching, before we began our first online cycle, we just had to be trained, on how to do Zoom, how to teach on Zoom, and particularly with me teaching math, how to use the whiteboard and, how to use our Google Drives to post the assignments and get them to the students and, things of that nature.
So can I tell you, Zeki, I would never, ever be the math princess, ever. It just would not have happened. Even with you. But I love the idea of a math princess, and I'm loving just how much you throw yourself into your teaching. And I'm sure what you were witness to not only was a change to your approach as a teacher, trying to sort of do it all right here in the box and keep them engaged, but the lives of your students, my gosh, so many of them come to the table trying so hard to pull it together and to have a life that they can live of value and of impact. And then this pandemic, my God, it must have been an extremely difficult experience for a lot of your students.
Yeah. And even still, a great many of our students are mothers. And, I know prior to us starting, you were trying to make sure that, there were no dogs barking, and it just didn't, because that's just the Zoom life that so many of us are in. I can tell you about last cycle, I had a student, Vanessa, and her little girl, Olivia, was an unofficial student because she was always on the screen, coming in and eating crackers and sitting on her mom's lap and running a loud toy through the room, and her mother would have to mute herself. We have saxophone lessons going on in the background. It's difficult. And it's a high level of multitasking, but our students are getting it done. They really are. They really are getting it done. Yeah.
Some of the women that you're teaching are in shelters and have alternative types of living conditions that are very challenging. How was that to try and keep them motivated when everything just got so much harder?
Yeah, and a lot of times it's tough too with the students. Wi-Fi connections are really tough sometimes. They're going in and out of class and in and out of class, losing connections. A lot of them are using their phones, which can just be kind of arduous, how they're trying to hold it up. And, and being able to see, especially when we do social studies, being able to see the practice test well on their phone. Things of that nature are tough. There's not a whole lot we can do about those things except just do our best. And the students, Ms. Zeki, my internet keeps going out. I say, it's okay. Just come on back in. Come on back into class. I'll let you back in. That's all we can really do. Yeah.
How is the morale of the students during the pandemic, especially when it was really hitting hard?
Well, surprisingly high. They're still motivated to take that test. That test means a lot to our students. It's life-changing. Right? You fall into financial independence. You fall into the next stage, which whether it be a job training, whether it be college, whether it be a new job that you needed your diploma in order to get. So they're still motivated to get that done. They really are, as tough as it is.
But the other side of the coin is this. Did you see any impact of the digital divide with your students?
Yes and no. Unfortunately, at the time, and we're working on it right now, we weren't able to offer our students a device. And a lot of them, some of them were sharing devices with their children who went to public school and got a device from public school. So we haven't had too many problems with our students having a device, more so just their connection. More so just their connection. But most of them have been all right as far as having a device to use.
Well, what do you miss the most about teaching in person?
Oh my goodness. Just, again, just the incentives that I like to give and the praise that I like to give. It really is hard not being able to do those things. And sometimes, and it's interesting because every cycle, we always have a couple return students, a student who we had in person who left and they wanted to come back. So it's always good to have those few students because they're familiar with those type of things that I used to do in class. And sometimes I'll tell the student, Brianna the other day, she answered this question beautifully. And I was like, you're the math princess, girl. You're the math princess. I was like, just imagine a math halo on top of your head right now. You know what I mean? Because I'm not able to do those things. I also have a thing, you may or may not know that the task, which is the high school equivalency test in New York, is Common Core aligned. And each subject has standards, and there are 8 Common Core math standards. So in class, all of the standards are below my board, and I have a light next to each standard. So if the class can light up 4 standards in a day, they get a certain number of points. And so I just record the points every day. And when they come in, they'll look up, because we have 3 different groups when we're in real time, and they'll look up and see, oh, group 2, it did this. Group 3, how many points did they get? And at the end of the cycle, whichever group wins, I take them somewhere. We've done bowling and pizza. We've done, we did Italian food and karaoke, every cycle I do that. So again, those are the things that I'm not able to do online, which is, I miss it. But, as soon as, things will come around and we'll be back doing those things again.
They will. And this Brianna, the math princess, I would like to meet this. I'm very jealous of Brianna. So there you go. We'll end it there. Zeki Blanding, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being you. And I know for all of your students, we are better for you. And we really appreciate your sharing your skills and your joy and your inspiration, your aspiration with us. Thank you, Zeki.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to thank you all so much for joining us today, getting to know Grace Outreach a little bit more. We just want to thank Mika as well for always being part of our mission and what we are trying to do. The work that we do is so impactful. The Bronx has one of the highest high school dropout rates in the country, and we are just here to try to help women to further their education and to become financially independent. So what we do is so poignant, not only for the Bronx, but just for everyone. So we thank you for your participation in our mission. We thank you for your altruism, which is just so needed by us. And we just value it and embrace the time that you've given us and the respect and the love. It is greatly embraced by us. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.